Alright, so in this video today, I'm going to be speaking about Bennedict Mathurin and how, in my opinion, he's one of the most slept-on rookies in his entire class and one of the biggest sleepers for Rookie of the Year. Yes, I do feel like he's that good and he's up there with Paolo, but what made me make such an absurd claim in your eyes? Well, I'm going to explain that in this video. But before I do that, make sure you like the video, subscribe. I'd appreciate if you dropped a sub. At the end of the day, if you don't like my content in a week's time, you can always unsub. Let's see how many new subs we can gain. But yeah, let's just jump straight into the topic of the video. So I really do rate Bennedict Mathurin extremely highly, and you might be thinking, well, why do you do that? Don't worry, I'm about to explain that right now. So Ben Mathurin in college averaged around 17 points per game on 37% from 3 and 6 attempts per game. So what can we check out? High volume 3-point shooter, check, great for today's NBA. High percentage 3-point shooter, check, that's great for today's NBA. So that already will just rise your draft stock, which it did. So what makes him so special? Would I call him a 3-level scorer? No, and I'll tell you why in a minute. I call him over a 2-level scorer because, like I pointed out earlier, he's a high flyer, he's a great finisher around the rim. Because he's 210 pounds and 6'5", he's a nice size and weight for his height and can therefore absorb and finish through contact, and he's a knockdown 3-point shooter. Now, he's not a bad mid-range shooter, however, it's not an element of his game which is there yet for me to call him a 3-level scorer, and he can easily add that. He has so much time, so becoming a 3-level scorer is not really going to be that hard for him. He just needs to take more mid-ranges and hit them more often. Now, what would I say a weakness of his game could be? If you watch Arizona play, you'd realize that, okay, this guy can shoot and get to the rim, but I wouldn't call him the best shot creator of all time, which is true, which is absolutely fine, because do you know who they have on their team? One of the best passers and facilitators in the entire NBA, Tyrese Halliburton. And if you're playing next to Halliburton, guess what? Looks are going to become easier. He's going to become a better shooter, in my opinion, because he'll be able to make finds for Ben that he wasn't able to get in college. And on top of that, it just makes life so much easier playing alongside Tyrese, especially with Ben's skill set being very, very comfortable shooting off the catch. He's very, very comfortable shooting off screens, whether they're pin downs or flare screens. It doesn't matter because Ben can actually shoot these threes at a very high percentage. I don't know why I'm calling him Ben like he's my friend or something, so I'll just call him Benedict. So he can really hit these threes at a very, very high level. And when you can do that next to such a gifted passer, that makes life so much easier. And on top of that, he's a very tenacious defender. Now, if you watched him, he ranked around top 15 in defensive rating in the Pac-12 and also top 10 in steals per game. He's a very active defender, has active hands, and is pesky, gives maximum effort on that end of the floor. And I'm pretty sure with that 6'9" wingspan at 6'5", if he puts more work into it, he can really become a two-way player, like for sure. Like, he's a good defender, but I wouldn't call him a two-way player, and he can really accelerate himself to being a legit two-way player if he keeps on the trajectory he's going on that end of the floor. Now, what also makes him special? Okay, so this doesn't really make him special. I take that back, actually, you know. Let's cut that out. But what impressed me the most over this summer, he played in the summer league. Did he? I didn't really know that. That's what most of you guys are probably going to say because you had no talk about this guy. Well, he averaged 19 points, 4 rebounds, and 1.3 steals on only 3 games because, you know, they shut him down due to precaution. But he was actually good. If you actually watched the Pacers play, which most of you didn't because, respectfully, no one wants to watch the Pacers. But he was very good. He was hitting his threes. He was getting to the rim. And it just showed potential of being an absolute complete scorer, which is what I like to see. And when I see a player this good being overlooked, it honestly makes me scratch my head so much. Like, what more does this guy have to do? And my response is nothing. He just has to keep this up in his rookie season. And eventually people will be put on notice and realize that this guy is really that good. Now, what frustrates me the most about Bennedict Mathurin is probably the fact that sometimes when he's attacking the rim, he can look a bit out of control because you see a lot of crafty finishes around the league that might hit you with a Euro step or little something to get around the defender. Bennedict kind of goes in full throttle with all his body, with all his power, and at the NBA level with stronger rim protectors, you may be rejected more, you may be called for more charges, and he just needs to gain more control and more or a higher variation of finishes, you know what I'm trying to say, which is not really a lot because you live and learn, especially in your rookie season. But if I had to say something frustrated me, it would just be that little thing right there. Oh, let's slightly counteract what I just said. Do you know what's really good about this guy as well? He shot the second most free throw attempts in the Pac-12 at 178 foul shots. And if you watch the NBA today, what do you need to be able to do? Get to the line. What can he do? Get to the line. That alone, as James Harden and Trae Young have showed you, can add at least 6 to 10 points per game to your actual average. Well, probably a drag, but you get what I'm trying to say. It just makes you more feared going to the rim, and if you're able to draw fouls, even on jumpers as well. So that's another thing, which although you're like, okay, why is that a skill? Well, it is in today's NBA, okay? It's a skill, which he definitely has, and it's something that really does impress me as a scorer, because as a scorer, you need to be able to get to the line. That's something he really can do. So yeah, top of that, for his college career, he was a decent free throw shooter. In his first year, shot around 84%. In his past year, shot around 76%. And I mean, 76% still good, but in my opinion, if you're a guard, I'd ideally want you above the 80% range, but that's just being picky. He's a good enough free throw shooter. So yeah. At the end of the day, thank you guys for listening to this video. That just made no sense. It was a bit of I'm all over the place, this video. However, I tried to freestyle this one because I really do think Bennedict Mathurin is very special. And it honestly frustrates me how he's just not getting the coverage he really deserves. And I do feel like when it comes to the Rookie of the Year race, Paolo Banchero will probably edge it. But Bennedict Mathurin will definitely be 2 or 3 in the ladder. And in my opinion, he'll probably average around 16 points per game, 4 rebounds on 46% from the field and 38% from 3. If I get that right, everyone here has to cash out me £10. Nah, I'm joking. But no, thank you guys for listening to this video, and I'm out. Peace.